The massive white hull of the UNS Hope gleamed against the darkness of space, its red medical cross standing out like a beacon of salvation. Inside the ship's main medical bay, Dr. Ann adjusted her white uniform and looked out at the stars through the reinforced windows. Their destination, a plague-stricken world called Blue Haven, was still 2 days away at maximum speed. Captain James stood on the bridge, his experienced eyes scanning the latest reports from the planet. The situation was getting worse by the hour. Already, more than 1 million of the local aliens had fallen sick. Without Earth's help, the death toll would be catastrophic. Status report, James called out to his bridge crew. The ship hummed gently around them, its massive engines pushing them through space at speeds that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago. All systems normal, Captain, replied Mark from his station. The medical supplies are secure, and all cooling systems are working at peak efficiency. He paused, checking another reading. Dr. Ann reports that her team has finished their final preparation drills. James nodded, pleased with the efficiency of his crew. The UNS Hope was Earth's largest hospital ship, nearly 2 miles long and equipped with the most advanced medical facilities humanity had ever built. While other nations built warships, Earth had chosen to make its mark on the galaxy through healing and aid. In the ship's massive storage bay, robots moved between tall stacks of medicine crates. Each container held enough vaccine to treat 10,000 patients. It had taken Earth's best medical minds 3 months to develop a cure for the alien plague, working day and night to save a species they had never even met. Dr. Ann walked through the medical bay, checking on her team's preparations. Young doctors and nurses moved with purpose, making sure every piece of equipment was ready. They had trained for months for missions like this, learning how to treat alien anatomies and handle unknown diseases. Remember, she told her team during their final briefing, we're not just carrying medicine. We're carrying Earth's promise to help those in need. Her words were met with determined nods. These people had given up comfortable positions in Earth's best hospitals to serve on the Hope. They knew the risks of treating unknown alien diseases, but they had volunteered anyway. In his private quarters, Captain James reviewed the security feeds. The Hope wasn't completely defenseless. No ship this valuable could be. But its defensive capabilities were minimal. That was by design. They wanted everyone in the galaxy to know that this was purely a vessel of mercy. The ship's AI announced the completion of another system check. Everything was running perfectly. James allowed himself a small smile. In just 2 days, they would reach Blue Haven and begin their work. The alien government had been skeptical at first, wondering what Earth wanted in return for its help. They couldn't understand why humans would travel so far just to help strangers. "Sir," called out Mark from the bridge, "long-range sensors are picking up some unusual readings in the Sigma sector. Might be solar interference." James frowned slightly. The Sigma sector wasn't known for solar activity. Still, space was full of natural phenomena they didn't fully understand yet. "Keep monitoring it," he ordered. "Adjust our shields if needed." In the medical bay, Dr. Ann finished her rounds and paused to watch her team at work. Humans had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago, and many alien species still viewed them as primitives. Some even mocked Earth for spending so much on medical ships instead of building a proper war fleet. But Ann knew something they didn't. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to help others, to show kindness even to strangers. The Hope wasn't just a hospital ship. It was proof that humans could change the galaxy without firing a single shot. As the massive ship continued its journey through space, none of its crew noticed the small distortions following them at a distance. The Gray Fleet had found its prey, and soon they would teach these soft humans the true nature of the galaxy. The first blast came without warning. A bright beam of energy sliced through space, passing close enough to the UNS Hope to make its warning systems scream. The massive hospital ship shuddered as its automatic shields activated. Captain James rushed onto the bridge, his face tight with concern. "Report," he shouted, grabbing his command chair as another blast rocked the ship. 3 warships, sir. Mark's fingers flew across his control panel. They just appeared out of nowhere. Some kind of advanced stealth technology. The main screen showed 3 dark ships surrounding them. Each one was covered in sharp angles and weapon ports, their hulls painted a dull gray that seemed to drink in the starlight. The Gray Fleet, pirates known throughout this sector of space for their ruthless attacks. "Open a channel," James ordered, keeping his voice steady despite the situation. The crew needed him calm right now. The main screen flickered, and a figure appeared. The alien captain wore gray armor that matched his ship's, his 4 eyes glowing with a predatory light. Everyone knew him as the Hunter, though no one knew his real name. "This is Captain James of the UNS Hope," James spoke clearly and calmly. "We are a medical vessel on a humanitarian mission. Please cease your attack." The Hunter's laugh was like grinding metal. "A medical vessel? Perfect. Your supplies will fetch an excellent price, and your crew will make fine slaves. Surrender now, and I might let some of them live." In the medical bay, Dr. Ann and her team worked quickly to secure their patients and equipment. The ship's gravity compensators were struggling to keep up with the evasive maneuvers, making everything float for split seconds at a time. "Those supplies are meant for dying people," James tried again. "There's a plague on Blue Haven. Without these medicines, millions will die." "Not my problem," the Hunter replied. "You humans are all the same. Soft, weak, always trying to help others. The galaxy doesn't run on kindness, Captain. It runs on power." Another blast hit the Hope, stronger this time. Warning lights flashed across every deck. In the storage bay, robots quickly moved to secure the precious medicine containers before they could be damaged. "Final warning." The Hunter's voice carried a hint of irritation now. "Your shields are impressive for a hospital ship, but they won't last. Surrender now, or we'll break your ship apart piece by piece." James looked at his crew, saw the determination in their eyes. They all knew what those supplies meant to Blue Haven. "We will not surrender," he said firmly. "This is your last chance to leave peacefully." The Hunter's response was another barrage of weapons fire. The Hope shook violently, but its shields held firm. The pirate ships began to move closer, preparing for what they thought would be an easy kill. "Emergency signal sent, sir," Mark reported quietly. "Fleet Command acknowledges." James nodded slightly. Help was coming, but they needed to survive long enough for it to arrive. "Evasive pattern Delta," he ordered. "Keep those supplies safe at all costs." The massive hospital ship began to move in ways that should have been impossible for a vessel its size. The pirates' shots started missing more often than they hit. The Hunter's voice came back over the comm, now filled with rage. "Impossible. What kind of hospital ship moves like that? No matter. Your tricks won't save you. All ships, full power to weapons. Break them." In the medical bay, Anne held onto a support beam as the ship twisted through space. She looked out the window at the attacking ships and whispered, "They have no idea what they've done." The Gray Fleet's ships moved into an attack formation, their weapons charging for what they thought would be the final blow. But in the darkness of space around them, something was changing. The Hunter was about to learn why it was dangerous to mistake kindness for weakness. The Hunter watched in growing frustration as his ship's weapons splashed harmlessly against the hospital ship's shields. No civilian vessel should have defenses this strong. Something was wrong. "Impossible," he growled, slamming his fist on his command chair. "Increase power. Use the heavy cannons." Inside the UNS Hope, Captain James remained calm as the attacks continued. The ship's true shields hadn't even been activated yet. These basic defenses were just the outer layer, meant to look like standard civilian protection. "Sir," Mark called from his station, "they're bringing their main weapons online. Energy readings are off the scale." James nodded slowly. "Time to show them our first surprise. Activate secondary shields." A soft hum filled the massive ship as new shield generators came to life. The air around the Hope seemed to ripple, and suddenly the vessel was surrounded by a gleaming blue barrier that no one in the galaxy had seen before. The Hunter's heavy cannons fired. Beams of destructive energy, powerful enough to crack a small moon, struck the Hope's new shields. The pirates waited for the hospital ship to break apart. Instead, the blue barrier absorbed the attack like it was nothing more than a light rain. "What kind of shields are those?" The Hunter's voice shook with rage and fear. "No human ship has that technology." In the medical bay, Dr. Ann and her team had finished securing their equipment. Through the windows, they could see the pirate ships circling like angry sharks, their weapons now barely scratching the Hope's defenses. "Hull integrity at 100%, Mark reported with a small smile. "Shield energy reading stable. They're throwing everything they have at us, sir, and it's not even making a dent." Captain James opened a channel to the attacking ships. "This is your final warning. The UNS Hope is not what you think it is. Withdraw now." The Hunter's response was a burst of weapons fire from all three ships at once. The Hope's shields flared brilliant blue, easily deflecting the assault. In his rage, the pirate leader had missed something important. More emergency signals were being sent from the Hope, but these weren't calls for help. "Sir," Mark said quietly, "Fleet Command reports all units are in position. They're waiting for your order." James looked at the tactical display. The pirates had no idea they were now surrounded by hidden human warships, waiting in stealth just like the Grey Fleet had done earlier. Earth's response to the attack would soon show these pirates why it was a mistake to mistake kindness for weakness. "Send the signal," James ordered. "Let's end this before anyone gets hurt." In the darkness of space around them, something began to change. The stars themselves seemed to shimmer as advanced stealth fields started to drop. The Hunter, focused on his failing attack, didn't notice the new readings appearing on his sensors. One of his crew finally saw the changing tactical display. "Sir, multiple ships decloaking. We're surrounded." The Hunter turned to his own screens in disbelief. Where there had been empty space moments before, now massive shapes were appearing. Earth warships, dozens of them, all larger and more heavily armed than his pirate vessels. "Impossible," he whispered. "The humans don't have a war fleet. They only build medical ships and cargo vessels." Captain James watched calmly as Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. The Hope had never been defenseless. It was bait in a trap, protected by the most advanced technology humanity had ever developed. Now these pirates would learn why Earth could afford to send mercy ships across the galaxy. The Hunter stared at his tactical display in horror. His three ships were now surrounded by a fleet more powerful than anything he had ever seen. And from the ways those ships were moving, he realized this was no hastily assembled rescue mission. This trap had been waiting for someone just like him. Admiral Tom stood on the bridge of the EWS Thunder, watching as his fleet decloaked around the trapped pirate ships. The massive warship, hidden until now, was 5 times larger than any of the Grey Fleet vessels. Its black hull seemed to drink in the starlight, covered in weapon ports that were already opening. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his second-in-command said. "The Grey Fleet is completely surrounded." Tom nodded slowly. For years, Earth had let the galaxy think it was defenseless. They built hospital ships and trading vessels, while other species created warships. But that was just what they wanted everyone to believe. "Open a channel to all ships," he ordered. His voice was deep and steady, carrying the weight of authority. The crew around him worked with quiet efficiency, their movements showing years of training. The Thunder's main screen showed images from every ship in the fleet. 20 Earth warships had appeared from nowhere, their weapons locked on the 3 pirate vessels. Each one was a masterpiece of hidden technology, carrying weapons that most species thought were impossible. "This is Admiral Tom of the Earth War Fleet," he broadcast to everyone in range. "To the Grey Fleet vessels attacking the UNS Hope, you are surrounded. Your shields are already mapped. Your weapons are targeted. Surrender now." On the Hope, Captain James watched as the full might of Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. The hospital ship had done its job perfectly, drawing out pirates who preyed on the helpless. Now they would learn why Earth could afford to send unarmed mercy ships across the galaxy. The hunter's voice came back over the comm, shaking with rage and fear. "This is impossible. Earth has no war fleet. Everyone knows you only build medical ships and traders. Look at your sensors again." Admiral Tom replied calmly. "What you see around you is just a small part of Earth's true power. We hide our strength because we choose to. We send mercy ships first because that is our way. But make no mistake, we are not defenseless." In the Thunder's weapon control room, targeting computers locked onto every weak point in the pirate ship shields. The weapons they were preparing to use had never been seen by any other species. Earth had kept its best technology hidden, saving it for moments like this. "Sir," an officer reported to Admiral Tom, "scans show their ships are powering up their engines. They might try to run." Tom shook his head slightly. "They won't get far. Signal all ships, activate gravity anchors." Invisible beams shot out from the Earth warships, creating a web of artificial gravity that trapped the pirate vessels in place. The Gray Fleet ships struggled against the unseen force, their engines glowing bright as they tried to break free. "What is this?" The hunter's voice was almost a scream now. "What are you doing to our ships?" "Something that your sensors say is impossible," Tom answered. "Just like this fleet you thought didn't exist. Earth has grown tired of pirates attacking our mercy ships. Today that ends." The Earth fleet moved closer, their formation perfect. Years of hidden training showed in every movement. These weren't hastily assembled defenders. This was a professional fighting force that had stayed hidden, waiting for the right moment to show itself. "Last chance," Tom broadcast. "Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Otherwise, we will show you why Earth never needed to build an obvious war fleet. We hid our strength because we chose to, not because we had to." In the darkness of space, the Earth warship's weapon ports began to glow with strange energy. The pirates were about to learn that humanity's mercy wasn't born from weakness. It was a choice made by a species powerful enough to be kind. The hunter made his final mistake. Instead of surrendering, he ordered his ships to fire everything they had at the Earth fleet. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes lit up space like artificial stars. Admiral Tom didn't even bother giving orders to dodge. He watched calmly as the pirates' weapons hit the Earth ship shields and simply vanished. Not reflected, not absorbed. They disappeared completely. "Impossible." The hunter's voice cracked. "Nothing can do that to energy weapons." "Phase shift shields," Tom explained quietly. "Your weapons aren't being blocked. They're being shifted into another dimension. Like I said, Earth has technology you've never seen." On the Thunder's bridge, weapons officers waited for Tom's command. Their targeting systems had already mapped every weakness in the pirate ship's defenses. They could destroy the Gray Fleet in seconds, but that wasn't Earth's way. "Show them the drones first," Tom ordered. "Minimal force." Small hatches opened on every Earth warship. Thousands of tiny lights poured out, each one a combat drone smaller than a human hand. They moved like a swarm of glowing insects, surrounding the pirate ships in complex patterns. The hunters' crews fired at the drones, but their weapons couldn't track the tiny machines. The drones slipped through gaps in their shields that shouldn't have existed, attaching themselves to the pirates' hull plating. "What are they doing?" the hunter demanded, watching as the drones covered his ships. Then his crew started shouting in panic. "Our weapons. They're shutting down our weapons." Tom nodded to his weapons chief. "Show them the main cannon. Low power." The Thunder's bow began to glow with strange light. Space itself seemed to bend around the weapon as it powered up. The other Earth ships moved aside, giving their flagship a clear shot. "That's impossible," one of the pirate crew members whispered. "Their energy readings. They're bending space-time." The Thunder's main cannon fired. A beam of pure white light shot out, splitting into 3 perfectly aimed streams. Each one hit a pirate ship exactly where their engines connected to their power cores. The Gray Fleet vessels shuddered as their power systems shut down. As you can see, Tom broadcast, "We could have destroyed you at any time. The drones have disabled your weapons. The gravity anchors hold you in place. Your shields can't stop our technology." And that was our main cannon at 2% power. Through the Thunder's windows, they could see the pirate crews staring in shock. Their sensors told them what they were seeing was impossible. Their most advanced shields had failed. Their best weapons had done nothing. "The Gray Fleet's reputation is built on fear," Tom continued. "You prey on hospital ships and traders, thinking they're easy targets. You mistake kindness for weakness. Today that mistake ends." He turned to his crew. "Launch the quantum torpedoes. Target their shield generators only." Small black objects shot out from the Earth ships. They passed through the pirates' shields like they weren't even there, hitting precise points on each vessel. The Gray Fleet's shields flickered and died. "How?" The hunter's voice was barely a whisper now. "How did you hide all this?" "Because we could," Tom answered simply. "Earth chose to show mercy first, to help others, to heal instead of harm. Not because we had to, but because we wanted to. The galaxy saw what we wanted it to see." The Earth fleet moved closer, their weapons still ready but not firing. They had made their point without destroying the single ship. Now the galaxy would learn why Earth's mercy ships traveled without escorts. They had never needed them. The Gray Fleet ships floated powerless in space, surrounded by Earth's war fleet. The hunter stared at his dead controls, knowing his crew's lives now depended on the mercy of people he had tried to destroy. Admiral Tom opened a channel to all ships. "Your vessels are disabled. Your weapons are offline. Your shields are down. But we are not like you. We will offer you what you denied others: a chance to surrender." In the medical bay of the UNS Hope, Dr. Ann watched the scene through the windows. She was already preparing her teams. If the pirates surrendered, there would be injured crew members to treat. "You would show us mercy." The hunter's voice was bitter. "After what we tried to do to your hospital ship." "Yes," Tom replied simply, "because that is who we are. Your crews will be taken into custody, given fair trials. Any injured will receive medical care. Your ships will be impounded, not destroyed." The hunter laughed, but there was no joy in it. "And if we refuse, if we choose to fight, then you will see why Earth's warships remained hidden for so long." Tom's voice was firm but not threatening. "We have weapons you cannot imagine, but we would rather not use them." On the Thunder's bridge, the crew waited silently. Years of training had taught them that this moment, the offer of mercy, was just as important as the display of power that came before it. "Sir," one of the other pirate captains cut in, ignoring the hunter's angry shout. "My crew, we surrender. We have wounded who need help." "No," the hunter screamed. "We do not surrender. We will." His words cut off as his own crew tackled him. Through the video feed, the Earth fleet watched as the pirate commander was pinned down by his people. They had seen enough. They chose survival. "Medical teams, prepare for casualties." Dr. Ann's voice came over the Earth fleet's channel. "Remember, they're patients now, not enemies." The UNS Hope moved forward, taking its place among the warships. Its true purpose became clear, not just a target to draw out pirates, but a way to show mercy after victory. Tom nodded to his crew. "Send in the boarding teams. Medical personnel first, then security. Treat them with respect. The galaxy is watching how we handle this." Earth Marines transported onto the pirate ships in groups of 4. Each team had a medic with them. They found scared crew members with their hands raised, expecting harsh treatment. Instead, they found humans who offered help first and handcuffs second. "This is how Earth fights." Tom broadcast on all frequencies, knowing other ships must be watching from hiding. "We have the power to destroy, but we choose to heal. Remember this day. Remember what you saw. In the Hope's medical bay, Anne treated a young pirate with a broken arm. He couldn't understand why she was being so gentle with someone who had tried to attack her ship just hours ago. "Because this is what humans do," she told him simply. "We help people who need it, even people who try to hurt us, especially them." The hunter sat in custody on the Thunder, watching through a window as medical ships and warships worked together. His fleet's sensors had been right. What he saw was impossible. Not the technology, but the mercy. Earth had revealed its true power today, not just in weapons that defied physics or shields that bent space. The real power was in choosing not to use that strength unless they had to, in offering help even to those who didn't deserve it. The galaxy would soon know the truth. Humanity wasn't weak. They were powerful enough to be kind. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every trading post and space station buzzed with the same story. Earth had a hidden war fleet, and it was more powerful than anyone had imagined. 3 days after the battle, the UNS Hope finally reached Blue Haven. The hospital ship descended through the cloudy atmosphere, carrying its precious cargo of medicines. Below, millions of sick aliens waited for help they thought would never arrive. "We're late," Captain James said as they landed. "But we made it." Dr. Ann and her teams worked without rest, treating the sick and teaching local doctors how to use Earth's medicines. None of the aliens could understand why humans would still help them after being attacked on the way. "Because this was always our mission," Anne explained to a local doctor as they treated patients together. Pirates didn't change that. Nothing would. On the other side of the sector, Admiral Tom oversaw the processing of the captured Gray Fleet ships. Workers found stolen goods from 100 different raids in the cargo holds. Each item would be returned to its rightful owners. The hunter sat in his cell aboard the Thunder, watching Earth personnel sort through his stolen treasure. They cataloged everything carefully, treating even worthless items with respect because they belonged to someone else. "I don't understand you humans," he said to the guard outside his cell. "You had the power to destroy us all along. Why hide it? Why show mercy?" "Because strength isn't about what you can do," the guard replied. "It's about what you choose not to do." Messages poured in from across the galaxy. Some were from worlds that had lost ships to pirates, thanking Earth for stopping the Gray Fleet. Others were from hostile alien governments, suddenly wanting to discuss peace treaties. In the Thunder's command center, Tom read reports from Earth's other hidden fleets. The Gray Fleet wasn't the only pirate group they had been watching. Now that their secret was out, other operations were being launched. More mercy ships would fly safely through space. "Sir," an officer reported, "we're getting requests from 17 different worlds. They all want to discuss trading agreements with Earth." Tom smiled slightly. "And how many of them refused to trade with us last month?" 16 of them, sir." Back on Blue Haven, the plague was already weakening. Earth's medicines worked better than anyone had expected. The aliens who had been suspicious of human help now crowded around the Hope, offering thanks in 100 different languages. Captain James stood with Dr. Ann, watching their teams work. "Do you think they understand now?" he asked. "Why we choose to help first?" "Some do," she replied, "helping a small alien child take her medicine. The rest will learn, not from our warships, but from this, from seeing us keep our promises even when it's hard." The story spread further. Humans had weapons that could bend space, shields that could shift energy between dimensions, drones smaller than fingers that could disable warships, but they chose to build hospital ships instead. In deep space, other pirate groups heard the news. They watched recordings of the battle, saw their strongest weapons vanish against Earth's shields. Many of them quietly changed their territories, avoiding any route that might bring them near human ships. The hunter's final message was broadcast across all channels before his trial. "We thought they were weak because they chose peace," his voice carried across space. "We were wrong. They chose peace because they were strong enough to do so." A month later, the UNS Hope left Blue Haven. The plague was defeated. Millions had been saved. As the great hospital ship rose into space, a fleet of Earth's warships decloaked around it, not because it needed protection anymore, but to remind the galaxy of a simple truth. Humanity had never been defenseless. They had simply been kind enough to give peace a chance first.